Yeah, it has been a crazy day. Hope you guys are doing well, enjoying the day, hanging out in the insane dinar asylum with Gail in there, drinking Gail's Kool-Aid, getting brain damage. That's what Gail does all day. She hangs out in there and creates brain damage. Anyway, and she picks on me all day in there too. Anyway, let's look at the news because I know there's a lot of frustration out there. Let's clear the air on that. Let's talk about why things could be happening. Again, to do this, we do have to bring some opinion into this. I want to stress that to you guys. But again, right now, if you look at the overall credibility of the news, as far as just what's really happening for the number one step we're looking for regarding the formation of the government, we don't have a lot of critical news in that. So we have to speculate to an extent and go down a little bit of opinion road, okay? Let's look at the first article here because this is a big concerning one, probably to most investors within this dinar investment community. Let's look at this guy. So, source: Al Sudani received a framework proposal to extend the term of his government. Now, I want you guys to think about something. The only way he could extend his term right now, remember, he's just a caretaker government, which means they're very limited and restricted on what they can actually do. It's almost nothing. Okay? They can pay salaries and stuff, and that's really about it. There's not a whole lot they can do. They can't pass laws. They can't do anything else. Okay? So here's what I'm trying to say. Tell me if this makes sense to you. Right here, it says Monday evening, the caretaker prime minister, Mohammed Shia, caretaker prime minister, which again means he's very limited on what he can actually do, received a proposal to break the political deadlock, which includes extending the term of his government for a year. So wait. So they're wanting to extend his term for another year as a limited, restricted prime minister of a caretaker government. Now, tell me how that makes sense to you. You want to extend the prime minister who's very limited and restricted on what he can do. He doesn't even have full powers as a caretaker, but they want to extend his caretaker limited status. Guys, this is all BS nonsense. I wouldn't take the time to focus on all this stuff. It makes no sense. And so, anyway, so just showing this to you guys that's what's going on. Anyway, this is a joke. I wouldn't even focus on trash like this. So yeah, again, there's very little he can do as a caretaker government prime minister, but they want to extend that limited restricted status for a year. Tell me how that makes sense. Okay? That's like trying to drive your car without tires at the end of the day. Next article here. Iran signals willingness to dilute enriched uranium if U.S. sanctions are lifted. Now, it looks right here like so it looks right here like Iran is possibly willing to play ball and cooperate and work with the U.S. That's really good. That's what we want to see, things to move forward like that. Progress along with compliance. MP changing the dollar exchange rate is within the purview of the next government here. Let's look at this article here. Okay, it says the existence of a financial crisis in Iraq while indicating that the dollar exchange rate in the parallel market will be held within the powers of the next government. So they're saying that the next government is the one that's going to have the powers to control the changing of the dollar and the changing the dollar exchange rate. Right. Guys, you know what this confirms right here? Right here. It says, let's read this together. Because what did I tell you? What did I tell you we're waiting on? The completion of the next government to change the rate. Bam! Right here, confirmed in print. The existence of a financial crisis in Iraq while indicating that changing the dollar exchange rate in the parallel market will be within the powers of the next government. So, the next government, meaning the new formed completed government, will have the powers of changing and adjusting the dollar exchange rate in the parallel markets. Right there in print. What did I tell you were waiting on? for the government formation to be complete. They're the ones that introduced the rate change within the country of Iraq, and it's right there in print in front of your nuggets. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love it when my work is confirmed. There is no disagreement that there is a financial crisis in Iraq. Anyway, guys, this is a nonsense article. It's not worth it. Most of the stuff in here is not even credible, but that first paragraph is. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Again, guys, most of the news right now is not even credible. You know what? Let's talk about that for a second. Why is the news nonsense? Why isn't it credible? Well, again, here's what I'm trying to show you. The more silent and the more misleading Iraq gets, the closer you are to the rate change. That's just the reality in this. It's a classified event. They're not going to give you any clues or tell you when the rate's going to change. It's going to be a massive secret. So by giving you tremendous misleading information and nonsense and hiding critical things from you that could help you know when the rate's going to change, like maybe, the date they're going to do the president, that's the stuff. So yeah, they got to give you misleading information, which you guys are, I see comments across the internet on this. There's plenty of people getting frustrated and upset as hell with the current news. But again, that's Kuwait syndrome. They'll never tell you. They're not going to give you any clues at all. They're going to mislead and confuse. So the more misleading they are, the more confusing they are, and the quieter they get about the core critical events, such as when are they going to do the president in a session of parliament, the closer you are to the rate change. Now, don't forget, if you do know how to study this, and if you're with me in my forum on Substack, we know how to study. And my point of telling you that is if you knew how to study this and you knew what you were looking for, they could complete the formation of the government at the point of when they vote the president in again. But you have to understand what I'm talking about to understand that, okay? So anyway, guys, the news looks really good. I know some people are frustrated as heck. I study from a different angle, though. I don't read the articles. I look at what they do. Their actions paint a different picture for me than reading all these nonsense, misleading articles. I look at what they do, okay? That, to me, is why I feel we're in a really good position. Plus, here's another thing. Roughly, they every year they've done a standard budget, and the last standard budget they did would have been clear back in 2021. Back in 2021 was their last annual budget. Okay. They normally, with all their annual budgets, have them approved by the end of March, ready for April 1st. Okay. Now, with that said, so if they traditionally try to have their budgets ready to be implemented April 1st, okay, after the rate changes, they have 30 days worth of stuff they have to do. They have 150 plus laws, would be like the oil and gas laws, one example, the 26 budget, which actually needs 3 full readings. They have a bunch of other additional amendments they're going to do to various reforms, like tax reforms, all have to be amended to be implemented. And there's other reforms too that have to be amended to be implemented. So a bunch of amendments to do. Anyway, my point is they have 30 days worth of stuff they'd have to do. So again, just from an opinion, common sense angle, what makes the most sense right now is it actually would make the most sense for them to change the rate in this month of November. I'm sorry, guys, my brain, I think I'm 1,000 miles an hour because I'm ADHD. What makes the most sense would be for them to change the rate in the second half of February. Sorry about that. Giving them the 30 days of March to finish everything I shared after the rate has changed in March, so they could have the budget ready to implement and the items that require the budget for funding and financing ready to implement all that April 1st like they traditionally do. Okay, so just wanted you to think about that again. What you're seeing in the news isn't bad. It's perception. And plus these articles, like here at the top that said, Soudani received a framework proposal to extend the term of his government. They're saying that, oh, this is something we're considering. This is nothing more at this point than a horrible consideration at this point. But again, what sense does it make to extend a guy's with limited powers? That's like trying to implement Superman without a cape. So, he's Superman, but he can't fly, or Spider-Man without his webs. Does no good. You have a prime minister that can't use all of his powers within the country because he's restricted as a caretaker. He can't do all the powers. He wouldn't have all the tools he needs. He's limited and restricted per the Constitution. What flippin' sense does that make? None. Again, their news is a joke. I like the news I see. You guys might not. I love the news. I'm very impressed with the news I see. Because again, I know what I'm looking for though. I don't drink this Kool-Aid. Okay? Anyway, friends, again, there's nothing of real substance right now to cover you with you guys. It's very overall misleading, confusing. So what I'm looking at this more of is I'm looking at this more from the angle of what are they doing? What's happening? How bad are they lying to us? How bad or how misleading overall is the news? Why are they hiding? Remember, the overall formation of the government went very smooth up until the point of the last couple weeks with the president. That's when it got very misleading. Okay? How do we know that's not timing? Because again, they technically, if you knew what you were looking for, they technically could finish the formation of the government at the point of voting in the president, if you knew what you were looking for and you knew how to study this. So, and if that formation of the government, like I just showed you, is the linchpin of the rate change, they just told you that in print. I just showed it to you factually. That's right. They said the next government has the power and control to adjust the freaking exchange rate, flat out, or the value of the currency. So they're telling you the formation of the government is the linchpin to the rate change. They told you that in print right in front of your face today. Beautiful. I'm glad my studies with you guys just got confirmed. Anyway, because of that, if they could complete the government at the point of voting in the president, and that could be the linchpin to the rate change, ask yourself the question, why wouldn't they hide that date from you? Think about that. Hey friends, you're the best. I hope you have a great day. Take care and thank you for joining.